Hello, my name is Tara, and this is my critical reflection in context.
Late last year, I had my first practicum placement at Catherine Macaulay in Westmead. On November 29, 2016, I took on a Year 9 religion class where the topic being studied was images of Jesus. My lesson plan was organised so that I would give the students different examples of images of Jesus through 3 pieces of music. As a class, we would pull apart the songs and compare them to one another.
The students were to then individually choose some music that portrayed an image of Jesus, and with the person next to them, create a Venn diagram about the similarities and differences between these 2 images. In theory, this lesson should go smoothly, but upon reflection, I did come across some speed bumps and challenges in the classroom. One thing I noticed was that some students were confused with the instructions, and others had begun to play up when I began to play the music, not participating and distracting their classmates. I also noticed students with learning difficulties were the ones playing up. Having somebody observe your lessons is a valuable way to bring a new perspective to your practice and send a message that teaching is a public act worthy of peer review. Professional Practice Standard 3.6 Evaluate and Improve Teaching Programs can be achieved by using my supervising teachers' comments to improve my programming in the future. What are they listening for? Maybe pose some questions to direct their thinking. This was one of the first notes I received about this lesson. By making this comment, my supervisor reminded me that I needed to make explicit instructions to the class as well as creating a goal to search for, not just mindless listening to the songs. My supervisor also made another comment that she liked getting them to write on the board to contribute to the lesson and keep the visual learners engaged while the auditory learners got to listen to the music and hear the class discussion. Another comment that was made was that it is important to monitor what the students are doing while you're playing the music. This observation by my teacher informed me that a lack of clear instructions for the students had set me up for failure, as it disengaged the students who were confused and unsure of what was being asked of them.
Standard 1.5 in the Professional Knowledge section of the Professional Standards for Teachers states that a teacher should be able to differentiate teaching to meet the specific needs of students across the full range of abilities. Taking this into consideration, the next time I will teach this lesson will be very different. I would explicitly state what is needed from the students as well as give them directed questions for their note-taking during the music videos. For example, instead of saying make a note of how you think Jesus is portrayed in this song, I will say write down 3 key ways that Jesus is portrayed in this song. For example, Jesus is portrayed as a shepherd. Following this, instead of asking the students to go on and do the work on their own, I will then pause the first song and help them to make notes about the images of Jesus before moving on to the next song. Creating this relation between what a student already knows and relates to and what they are learning is essential, as Lev Vygotsky and Jean Piaget's theory of constructivism suggests. According to Driver, Ahsoka, Leach, Mortimer and Scott, the making of meaning involves dialogue where individuals are introduced to something by a person more skilled in the area. This means that constructivism is learning through social conversation and shared problem solving. The social constructivist theory comes into play as the teacher gives an example as well as doing some of the work with the class before asking them to do it on their own. This helps the students to replicate what they were doing with their teacher when it comes time for the individual learning segment of the lesson. Self-injurious, aggressive, non-compliant and disruptive behaviours are problem behaviours often exhibited by individuals with developmental disabilities. To combat this, I will then sit next to the students with learning difficulties and help them to make notes on the other 2 videos, while the more proficient classmates will go ahead on their own. This also helps me to cover part of the Professional Practice Standard for Teachers, where Standard 4.1 is supporting student participation. Sitting next to students that are having difficulties encourages their participation in the lesson, while meeting Standard 4.3, which is managing challenging behaviour, as they are no longer challenging because they are participating and engaged. Not only does this give explicit instruction and direction to all students, but by engaging the students across the full range of abilities, it leaves no room for disengagement and disruption in the classroom. When teachers focus on students feeling safe, supported, encouraged, included, engaged, and challenged, they are laying the foundation for an effective learning environment.
This also lays down an effective social constructivist classroom where students feel comfortable to ask their teacher for guidance, as well as build upon their own experiences in the classroom with their classmates and their teacher.
Created using Powtoon.